myself, I'm the CEO of Lives on Television, and it's a 24/7 Christian TV station. We broadcast from New York into the world. We broadcast from New York into the world. And of course, many of you have been to the website. That's how you're able to, watch right now. So you can check the website later and see more about what we do. But in addition to that, I also have some mentorings that I do. I do business coaching. I also do some motivational seminars. We've done about 3 of them this year so far. Actually, we've done 5 of them. We've done the 3 big ones, and then we've done 2 smaller ones. So we've done 5 seminars before this COVID-19 hits, or else we'll be having a seminar this month, right? But anyway, we are having one right now with you, but we'll usually be gathered together and all that stuff. So I do that, and I also have what I call high flyer mentoring. If you're watching on the website, you see a link to that says high flyer mentoring. So I do that as well. That allows me to be able to actually coach you in business, ministry, and media on a monthly basis. So with the high flyer mentoring, we have a platform through Patreon, and through that platform, you are actually able to have access to, all kinds of teachings that just really will take your ministry and your business to the next level. If you sign up today, there's a link on this page. For those of you on the website, there's a link right underneath the video player. If you sign up, you have access to several teachings that have been uploaded to that platform. Resolving conflict, understanding personality types, winning with people, how to turn your invention ideas into a product, getting your product into stores, licensing, patent, prototype, manufacturing issues, and all that stuff. And when you sign up for that iFlyer mentoring, you have an all-access pass to every seminar and training, right? And of course, new video courses are added each month. And also you get to have a Q&A session with me, private calls with me, as well as 10% discounts on all products and events. So definitely check that out. And by the way, for those who are part of that platform, it's the high flyer mentoring, and Patreon is what's servicing that mentoring platform for us. If you're part of it, you have access to everything I'm talking about today. So I'm sharing with you this free seminar. However, those who are part of the high flyer mentoring will literally get everything I don't get to talk about. It's there for them. So I definitely suggest that you join the community and be able to take advantage of what we have. All right, so let's get into what I have for you today. Right now I'm dealing with the relief funding. And as I'm looking at the relief funding, there's 4 different types of relief funding that are available, right? The first one is the Paycheck Protection Program. And this loan provides loan forgiveness for retaining employees by temporarily expanding the traditional SBA loan program. So basically, you're able to get this forgivable loan. Now, I'm not a loan person. I've never gotten a loan for business. I just am not that kind of a person. So, as a matter of fact, I teach on how to start businesses from zero. I started Lives on TV from zero. So, some people get loans to do what they have to do, but I'm not that kind of a person. However, with this loan, this one is a forgivable loan. And the reason is because I don't want to owe anybody anything. So, but this one is a forgivable loan. So if you get the Paycheck Protection Program loan, you'll be able to use it to pay your employees, you'll be able to use it to pay your rent and some other things, and it will be forgivable. Once you prove that you are using it for that, then it will be a forgivable loan. Then there's another one, which is the EIDL loan advance. So this loan advance will provide up to $10,000 of economic relief to businesses that are currently experiencing temporary difficulties. So, of course, because of COVID-19, a lot of businesses are experiencing a lot of difficulties right now. So when you apply for this, right away they're able to send you $10,000 to get you going. This also has the forgivable, aspects to it as well. We'll touch more on this, but these are the various relief options. Then there's the SBA Express Bridge Loan. This one enables small businesses who currently have a business relationship with an SBA Express lender to access up to $25,000 quickly. So if you already have a relationship with an SBA Express lender, then you can get this one. And then there's also the SBA Debt Relief that is also available. All right, and that's for those who already have a debt. So maybe you already have a debt, and they will kind of help you, give you some loan to be able to pay off some debts that you have. That one is not forgivable, but it's available for you. All right, so those are the 4 different options. Now, let me get more into I just wanted to kind of give you an overview, but let's get into the Paycheck Protection Program. This is the real thing that a lot of people definitely want to know about. So the Paycheck Protection Program authorizes up to $349 billion in forgivable loan to small businesses to pay their employees during this COVID-19 crisis, right? So all loan terms will be the same for everyone. So this is the big one now, the Paycheck Protection Program. The loan amount will be forgiven as long as the loan proceeds are used to cover payroll costs, most mortgage interest, the rent for your business, and the utility costs over the 8-week period after the loan is made. So as long as you can show that this loan is used for that, then it will be forgiven. Now, many of you who have churches, who have businesses, maybe you have a mortgage on the building, or you have a rent that you're paying, or utilities and all that stuff, you may need this help right now. And as long as you are using this loan for that purpose, not to go and buy a car or to go and go shopping or anything like that. If you're using it for that purpose, then it is forgivable. And then also, if you're using it for your employees, right? So if you're using it to pay your employees, and the compensation levels are maintained, then it will be forgiven. Payroll costs are capped at $100,000 on an annualized basis for each employee. So due to likely high subscription, it is anticipated that not more than 25% of the forgiven amounts may be for non-payroll costs. So loan payments will be deferred for 6 months. Now, remember, it's a loan, but it's forgivable, right? So don't be afraid of having all this debt on your head, because as long as you can show that you're using it for the things I mentioned earlier, payroll costs, mortgage interest, most mortgage interest, rent, utility costs, if you can show that that's what you use it for, then it is forgivable. All right? So, and you can start, well, The application started on April 3rd. So the question is, when can I apply? Well, it's already started. So small businesses, sole proprietorship can apply. So some of you have a sole proprietorship. In case you don't know what that is, you have your own little business that you do, right? You are, sometimes you have a tax ID and you sell handbags on the street or something. As long as you can show that the loan is for anything related, like if maybe you have a little rent you pay for a little store or a little storefront, or sometimes it's not even a full storefront. Somebody who's selling a handbag on the street maybe paying a little rent in front of a store. Like here in New York, on Jamaica Avenue, some people will pay a little rent to be able to use the front of a store, that kind of a thing. So that's a sole proprietor. So sole proprietorships, small businesses, they can apply and receive loan to cover their payroll. Now, when we talk payroll, right? Payroll is not just your employee. Payroll is including you. So remember that because you cannot work right now, if you're selling on the street, you cannot sell on the street right now, or whatever you do. So you suffering right now because you don't have the money that you normally would have made to make ends meet. So this loan is also for you and it's forgivable. So whatever you normally would have made for the 8 weeks period, so you are the first employee, so you get to cover your own, income. So you can receive this loan as a small business, as a sole proprietorship, to cover your payroll, to cover expenses, and all that stuff. Now, the way the Paycheck Protection Program works is that you apply through an SBA lender. So that's how the Paycheck Protection Program works. You apply through a lender. So for me, I applied through Bank of America. I already have a bank relationship for my business with Bank of America, so I applied directly with Bank of America. For Bank of America, they were not going to receive in-person application. So there is an application that's already uploaded. For those of you who join my platform, the Patreon platform, which you can go to highflyermentoring.com to join that. I've uploaded the forms there. I've uploaded everything I'm talking about today, and the ones I will not talk about today because it's just too much. They are all there. All the outlines, all the forms, all the links, everything is on there. Just go to highflyermentoring.com for that. All right, so for me, I applied with Bank of America, and I was able to do it online. As a matter of fact, I got a text because I applied yesterday. I got a text or an email today that they have received my application. So usually what you ask for is 2.5 times what your monthly expenses, if you will, is. So if, let's say, every month, in order for your business to run, between the rent and the payment for yourself or your employee, if it is $15,000, then you'll be applying for a loan of $15,000 times 2.5. So just do the math. That's what you'll be applying for. Now, for somebody else, it could be their monthly expenses could be $50,000. So they'll be applying for 50,000 times 2.5. So basically, I guess with the 2.5, it's covering the 8 weeks period and I guess half of a month added to that. All right. Now, starting from April 10, which was yesterday, independent contractors and self-employed individuals can apply for and receive loans to cover their payroll and other certain expenses through the existing SBA lenders. Again, if you are going to apply for this Paycheck Protection Program, by the way, if you're a pastor too, that applies to you. It's also for your churches. If you're a pastor and you get your salary, now maybe you can get salary. Maybe the tithes are not coming in like that. Maybe there are some people that you pay. All that too applies to you. Now, for independent contractors and self-employed individuals, as of yesterday, they can also start applying. Now, remember I said that you have to apply through an existing SBA lender. So there are many banks all over the country that are SBA lenders. So you apply through them. So this one, you're not going to apply directly to the SBA.gov website. This one, you're going to apply through the existing lenders. All right? Let's see. I'm going through my notes here. I have a lot of notes. All right, what do I need to apply? You need to complete the Paycheck Protection Loan application and submit the application with the required documents to an approved lender. Now, in my case, when I applied yesterday, there was no required documents. So I applied. So I guess when it's time, then they will let me know whatever they need from me. Now, the good thing about this right now is that the normal process to apply for a loan with an SBA is being cut down, if you will. Like it's, if you were to go through the normal process, if there was no COVID-19, it would be pretty strenuous. But right now, in light of what's going on, there's a lot of process that's cut short and cut down or cut out, just so as to make it easy for you. Now, if you have not applied for this Paycheck Protection Program, please go and apply right away, because this thing is first come, first serve. Remember, they've allocated 349. So 349 that they have allocated for this. So you don't want to wait. And some businesses have like 100 employees, 200 employees, and they are applying. And so you don't want all this other business get all the money and then now you are applying when it's too late. So apply today. Apply today. If you want, the application form is already uploaded to the Patreon. You can just go to highflymentoring.com and you can sign up for my Patreon. You'll get all those things there. Now, of course, there are other ways. You don't have to join my Patreon to get the form. You can just go to sba.gov, right? But in my Patreon, I've put a lot of things. So all the digging that you may want to do, it's already done for you. And you can see it in my Patreon. All right, so I just told you what you need in order to be able to apply. All right, what other documents will you need? Whatever they ask you for. For me, yesterday, they didn't ask me for anything, and I've already received a note from them that they have received my application. So whatever else they will need, they will let me know. Do I need to first look into other funds before applying to this program? No. No. If you remember what I said before, they are waiving the usual SBA requirements. So I guess in the past, if you were to apply for an SBA loan, they require that you try some other funds and all that kind of stuff. But in this case, they are waiving the usual SBA requirements so that you can just go ahead, Yeah, it says we are waiving the credit elsewhere requirement. So I guess that's what's called, the credit elsewhere. So they're waiving that right now. And that's what I like about this, like the fact that this is a time to take advantage of. Because what could have been very difficult for some before, now it's a little easier because they're waiving all these things right now. So if I were you, I would be applying right away. All right? How long will this program last? Although the program is open until June 30, 2020, we encourage you to apply as quickly as you can because there is funding cap and lenders need time to process your loan. Remember, there's funding cap, so that's very key. So don't delay at all. Apply right away. How many loans can I take out under this program? Just one. You can take out one loan. What I did for me, because I have multiple businesses, so I just kind of put everything together, calculate all of them together, and apply. All right. What can I use these loans for? Well, I addressed that before, but let me mention it again. You can use the proceeds from these loans for, number one, payroll costs, including benefits. You can use it for payroll costs, including benefits. You can use it for interest on mortgage obligation that you have incurred before February 15, 2020. You can use it for your rent that is under lease agreement in force before February 15, 2020. You can use it for utilities for which service began before February 15, 2020. I love this because, some people may start applying for things or opening up utilities and expecting loan to cover that when you just open it in April. So they are basically saying if you already have utilities that the services has begun before February 15, then you can use the loan for that. Same thing, if you already had a rent before, you can use the loan for that. If you had a rent before February 15, you can use the loan for that. All right, another question here. What counts? What is it that counts as a payroll cost? So payroll costs include salary, wages, commission, or tips, capped at $100,000 on an annualized basis for each employee. Then another thing that counts as payroll cost is the employee benefits, including the cost for vacation, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, allowance for separation or dismissal, payments required for the provision of a group health care benefit, including insurance premium, payment of any retirement benefit. So this are normal stuff that goes with many people's payroll, or many people's salary. So sometimes maybe you have a job that you get commission or you get tips. So all those things are included. So just think about your normal living, so what you normally will get, right? Including the vacation, the medical leave, all that kind of stuff. They're all included in this. The state and local taxes assessed on compensation, right? Then for a sole proprietor or independent contractor, payroll costs will be your wages, your commissions, your income, or net earnings from self-employment, capped at $100,000. So it can cover your wages, salary, or whatever, income, up to $100,000. So if I'm self-employed or an independent contractor, if I'm making normally $150,000 a year, they will cover $100,000 out of the $150,000. All right. The next question here is, does the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, does the PPP cover paid sick leave? And the answer is yes. The PPP covers payroll, which includes employee benefits, such as costs for parental, family, medical, or sick leave, right? So all that is included. How large can my loan be? How large can my loan be? Loans can be up to 2 months of your average monthly payroll costs for the last year, plus an additional 25% of that amount. That amount is subject to a 10 million cap. So really, for the large companies, they can actually apply up to $10 million. So remember, that's why I said apply right away, because this is for all of us, right? So both the independent contractor, the large corporation, they're all applying for this right now. So if you have people applying for 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, you don't want all the money to have finished before you wake up and decide you want to apply. So apply right away. All right. Another question here. How much of my loan will be forgiven? How much of my loan will be forgiven? You will owe money when your loan is due. If you use the loan amount for anything other than payroll costs, mortgage interest, rent, utilities. So remember this, the reason for this loan is not for you to go and start living large or go shopping, right? If you use your money for that, you're gonna owe money. If you use the loan for that, you're gonna owe money. However, if you use it for what they want you to use it for, payroll costs, mortgage interest, rent, utilities payment, then it will be forgiven. All right. So due to likely high subscription, it is anticipated that not more than 25% of the forgiven amount may be for non-payroll costs. All right. You also owe money if you do not maintain your staff and payroll. So they want you to maintain your staff, your current staff. So obviously, for some of us, whoever we are hiring before or employed before, we cannot continue to hire them because the money is not there. So when you get this loan, you'll be able to, they want you to actually call back those people that lost their job, because this is also to help protect paycheck, not just for you, but for your employees. All right. How do I request loan forgiveness? You can submit a request to the lender that is servicing the loan. The request will include documents that verify the number of full-time equivalent employee and pay rates, as well as the payment on eligible mortgage, lease, utility obligation. You must certify that the documents are true and that you use the forgiven amount to keep employees and make eligible mortgage interest, rent, and utility payments. The lender must make a decision on the forgiveness within 60 days. What is the interest rate for this loan? It is 1%, 1% fixed rate. When do I need to start paying interest on my loan? All payments are deferred for 6 months. However, interest will continue to accrue over this period. When is my loan due in 2 years? Can I pay my loan earlier than 2 years? Yes. There are no prepayment penalties or fees. Do I need to pledge any collateral for these loans? No. There's no collateral required. Do I need to personally guarantee this loan? No. There is no personal guarantee requirement. All right. That is it for the payment protection plan. Let me answer some questions that some faith-based people may have. Questions some churches may have. So the question number one is: Are faith-based organizations, including House of Worship, eligible to receive SBA loans under the PPP and EIDL programs? So that's a question some churches have. The answer to that is yes. And we additionally clarify that faith-based organizations are eligible to receive SBA loans, regardless of whether they provide secular social services. So in other words, you don't need to provide secular social services, and if you do provide two, that's fine. There's no penalty, as long as you're faith-based, you can apply. You're a church, you can apply for this loan, right? So they're not discriminating against churches in regards to this loan. So you can go ahead and apply. Then another question is, are there any limitation on how faith-based organizations can use the PPP and EIDL loans money that they receive? The answer to that is only the same limitation that apply to all other recipients of these loans, such as that loans forgiveness will cover non-payroll costs only to a maximum of 25% of the total loan to a recipient. Now, if I think I need to emphasize on that one. It says loan forgiveness will cover non-payroll costs only to a maximum of 25%. So if you get a loan, let's say of $5,000, the non-payroll costs they will cover up to 25% of the non-payroll costs. So the major part of the PPP is to protect paychecks. They want people to have money, to be able to, have their income. So while you can use this PPP for utilities, for rent and stuff, they don't want a situation where it's like you are using the PPP just really for rent and mortgage and utilities, and you're not really paying salaries. So make sure that it's covering mostly salaries, and it can also be used for rent and mortgage interest and utilities as well. All right. So are there limitations on how faith-based can use it? No, the same limitations that apply to everyone else. So there's no special limitations for us. Another question here for faith-based organization: how will churches qualify? If they have not been informed of tax-exempt status by the IRS? Do organizations have to request and receive tax-exempt status, or just meet the requirements of 501c3 status to be eligible? Now, so let me explain that question in case you don't understand. Some faith-based or some churches are actually tax-exempt, like they apply for the federal 501c3 tax-exempt status. So the question is, if you don't have the 501c3, can you apply? So the answer to that is that churches, including temples, mosques, synagogues, and other house of worship, integrated auxiliaries of churches, and conventions or association of churches qualify for PPP and EIDL loans as long as they meet the requirements of Section 501c3 on the Internal Revenue Code. Now, what does that mean? By the way, such organizations are not required to apply to the IRS to receive the tax-exempt status. So let me explain that. So there is a tax-exempt status where, a non-profit organization, and more specifically right now, faith-based organization will have a 501c tax-exempt status. So, you apply for that, you get that status. So you don't have to have that. As long as you're a church, you're already meeting the requirements of the 501c3. In other words, you already like churches, for example, are tax exempt regardless, right? Now, even though you might not have applied to get a 501c3, tax exempt status, but because you're a church, you're already tax exempt. And I hope I'm clarifying that well. So any church is already tax exempt regardless. So by the virtue of the fact that you're a church, whether you're a mosque, temple, synagogue, house of worship, all of that, because you're already a church organization, you're already tax exempt anyway. So that's all that's required. You don't need to have applied for the 501c3 in order for you to be able to get this loan. I hope you all understand that. Okay, what programs are? We will get to that one. The ones for the gospel artists. So there's actually a program for artists. So we'll get to that. All right. Another question here. What legal requirements will be imposed on my organization as a result of our receipt of this federal financial assistance? Will those requirements cease to apply when the loans is either repaid in full or forgiven? All right, so the receipt of a loan through SBA programs constitute federal financial assistance and carries with it the application of certain non-discriminational obligations. So any legal obligation that you incur through your receipt of this loan are not permanent, and once the loan is paid or forgiven, those non-discrimination obligation will no longer apply. All right, so let me explain that. So basically what they're saying is, of course, as faith-based organizations and churches, there are certain ways we run our organizations, and sometimes when you take federal money, they require, as a matter of fact, let me read it out. So consistent with certain federal non-discriminational laws, SBA regulations provide that the recipient may not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, age, or national origin with regards to goods, services, and accommodations offered. So basically, churches, for example, have their own guidelines. And sometimes for the federal government, some of our own guidelines may come across as discrimination, right? So, for example, let's look at the sex issue. For some churches, there are certain things that you don't want to do with same sex, right? So, but when you get a federal assistance like this, they require that you should not discriminate. So, so you can think for your own church and how you conduct your own service, what you need your own loan for. So if your loan has nothing to do with any kind of discrimination, if you're just paying the existing employees, you don't need to worry about that. If you're just using it to pay your rent, mortgage, interest, and all that stuff, utilities, then you don't need to worry about that, right? But that's the legal requirement, so to speak, or the legal limitation. Because you are receiving federal assistance, they're asking that you should not discriminate on the basis of race, on the basis of color, on the basis of religion, sex, handicap, age, or national origin. But honestly, this really doesn't apply to this, because remember, this loan is for what you're already doing. So whatever you're already doing in terms of hiring people and your rent and utilities, that's really what this PPP is for. Now, if it is outside of this situation now and you're applying for a loan generally, then of course, let's say you're applying to run your after-school program, then they require that you cannot discriminate. So if a transgender person wants to come, you cannot say don't come to my program, right? But really that does not apply here, because most of what you're already doing has nothing to do with this discrimination. This is to pay your employees and all that stuff. All right, another question. Is my faith-based organization disqualified from any SBA loans program because it is affiliated with other faith-based organizations such as a local diocese? No. So now some of you may not understand that question. So sometimes there are some churches that have branches, like, so I'm Nigerian, it's very common for Nigerian churches to have branches. So you have, let's say, a RCCG or a Deeper Life or Foursquare, or, so they have branches all over the place. So they are part of a main headquarters. So there's a main church, the headquarter church, and then you have branches all over the place. So the question is, am I disqualified because I'm part of the bigger church? No, you are not, because your own local assembly, you do your own thing, you have your own payroll, you have your own rent and stuff like that. So you can apply for your own. So like a Deeper Life headquarter don't need to apply for all the churches. Each individual branch can apply. All right? Okay, number 7, I think. Does my faith-based organization need to apply for this exemption or include any documentation of its religious belief or practices to fall within this affiliation exemption? No specific process or detailed filing is necessary to claim the benefits of this exemption. So, it's basically still saying what I said before. Each branch can apply, and that's fine. How do I know where my organization fits in SBA size standards table? Should I use the table to determine whether my organization is a small business that is eligible to participate in the PPP program? The SBA size standard can be found at, really on their website. So just go to the website, sba.gov, and you can do some of this research. Now, by the way, what I'm sharing with you at this moment is not something like I made up. This is actually on the sba.gov website, but just kind of giving clarity to them. Some of you have not read it. Some of you don't want to be bothered. So I'm doing the dirty job for you right now by explaining all these things and also encouraging you to apply. Maybe some of you have not even thought about applying for these things. So now you can go ahead and apply for it.